Welcome to my channel. Natural cures. Herpes or herpes are a group of similar viruses that are responsible for infection with a number of diseases, the most important of which are simple herpes, zoster and false smallpox. What distinguishes these diseases is the resulting blisters on the skin and on the mucous membrane, as some viruses of herpes or herpes cause infectious diseases and birth defects in addition to the possibility of a relationship between them and cancer. Halaviruses are two types of viruses, the first type that results in small blisters commonly called cold sores, or fever blisters that usually appear on or near the mouth. The first type also causes eye infection called keratitis and other cases of encephalitis. Type 2 genital herpes, it is a disease that affects the reproductive systems and produces painful ulcers on the genitals, and it may cause meningitis and inflammation that affects the membranes surrounding the spinal cord and brain. As for infection with viruses and the mechanism of spreading the disease, it will be through the formation of pimples and ulcers on the skin that may last for a period of 2 weeks and then dry out after that. Signs of a weakening of the immune system or during physical or emotional stress, thereby repeating the pathological symptoms. The process of recurrence of symptoms is called activation, and genital herpes, and it is similar to the regional solution that causes another type of painful skin lesion called shingles. Genital herpes appears in women in and around the vagina and cervix, and in men it appears around the penis, and in both sexes it also appears around the anus. The solution is very contagious and appears in the same form, whether on the mouth or on the genitals. As for infection with viruses and how the infection occurs and spreads, it appears immediately after infection because the incubation period for the virus is relatively few, where the first symptoms begin to appear within 4 to 8 days, and the symptoms of the initial infection are simple and easily recognizable as they include burning, numbness, and persistent itching, then followed by after 2 days or more pills, such as pimples on reddish skin, turn these pimples into painful bubbles, then blood or yellow pus comes out, and the transmission of the virus with infection begins from the numbness stage to the appearance of bubbles filled with bubbles and is considered an active stage, and this explains the reason for the rapid spread of the virus among people. Herbs used to treat herpes viruses or herpes. Trang. Trangan or melissa is a perennial herb. The height of the plant reaches 100 centimeters. Trangan contains an aromatic oil that has an aromatic smell close to the smell of lemon. It tastes bitter and pungent, white or crimson flowers, and the splinter fruit contains 4 seeds. Its natural habitat is the Mediterranean region and grows in abundance in Syria and Lebanon. Thrangia is known scientifically as Melissa officinalis, and the part used in the plant is the leaves that contain volatile oil, the most important of which are citral, citronellal, and geraniol, as well as spontaneous astringents and bitter materials. As for its benefits in treating viruses, it is due to the presence of tannin acid, polyphenol, and a mechanism of action. Trajan leaves on the herpes virus are in competition for receptors on the cellular membrane of the cells, which leads to preventing viruses from adhering to the cells and thus limiting the spread of viruses, and the treatment method is by spreading the pimples with a solution prepared from the leaves of the plant. Red pepper. Red pepper is scientifically known as Capsicum annum, and the used part of the pepper plant is ripe fruits. Red pepper fruits contain resinous substances, and the active substance in pepper, which is attributed to the effect, is capsaicin used to relieve genital pain. The garlic. Garlic has several benefits to be considered an integrated pharmacy and has its antivirus properties. Garlic is scientifically known as Allium sativum. A study on tubular tests has shown that garlic has a fatal effect on viruses against the 2 types of Hila virus and other types of viruses that cause cold and influenza. St. John's wort. It is a perennial herbaceous plant known scientifically as Hypericum perforatum, and the most important compound of this plant is hypericin that helps to kill simple herpes and several other viruses, although ointments that contain hypericin are effective against herpes ulcers, and to prepare an ointment from it, they apply areas affected by blisters, and can boil the leaves of the plant flowers in the amount of a cup of water until it is concentrated in half, and then cools and grows the affected areas with a cotton swirl after dipping them in the concentrated liquid several times a day. Rudbeckia. This plant has the ability to stimulate the immune system in addition to its antivirus properties. It is similar to margarita or spring flower, and it is a perennial herbaceous plant with a height of 50 centimeters. Its beautiful violet flowers. The plant is known practically as the Echinacea purpurea, and the medicinal part of the plant uses all parts of the plant including the roots. The plant contains mostly isobutyl amide alkaloids with wafenic, acetalnic, caffeine acid, multi-sugar substances, pilot oil, a quinolone and betan, and used in the form of a tincture, where about half a teaspoon of tincture is added to the tea or juice and the patient takes it 3 times a day. Plants rich in amino acids. When the virus multiplies in cells, it needs some amino acids to be able to reproduce. In the event that it is not available, the activity of the virus decreases by a large percentage, and the necessary amino acids are L-arginine. Another amino acid is lysine that works to inhibit the reproduction of the virus. So it is wise to search for food rich in lysine and low in arginine content. There are several plants that have a high percentage of lysine but have a low percentage of arginine, and they are star fruit, where the ratio of lysine to arginine is 4:1. And papaya is about 3:1. Grapefruit, apricots, pears, apples and figs with a ratio of 2:1. The well-known acyclovir Zivirax is mixed with tannin-rich herbal extracts such as Japanese oatmeal, benzoin and cloves. This combination treatment was clearly better than acyclovir alone or herbs alone. Therapeutic drinks. Time-holding plants that contain quantities of tannin, such as tea, reaction juice, staple, grapes, pears, plums, strawberries, and pear juice, in particular, are rich in anti-herpes. Finally, patients are advised not to rub the area affected by blisters or touch pus until the virus does not spread to other areas of the skin. Please subscribe and like and commenter.